Hey everybody, Tim here with today's episode of Orville, Season 1, Episode 6, The Krill. This one was a great episode. This is the one where it's the social commentaries, much like Star Trek did, and a lot of Orville has even had those types of episodes where it's like, let's take a step back and look at who we are, but put a sci-fi spin on it so those who get cranky about it don't actually realize it. Most of this whole episode is just kind of all about racism and religious dogma, and how because my God says you're unworthy, that means I'm right. And it's something like that mankind has dealt with for years, and so it's kind of interesting to watch how they address it with a different, an entire different species. Which, before I get too far, the whole opening scene of this episode is just great, where Bortus basically just becomes this character who, let's see what he can eat, because he grabs a handful of wasabi from Gordon's sushi and just eats the entire thing, which I think the first time I had sushi, my husband played that trick on me where he was like, here, put a dollop of that on there. And so now I don't eat wasabi ever again. So he eats the wasabi, he eats the napkin, he eats a cactus, he eats a glass, and even Gordon's like, let's find a bag of nails. And then that's kind of where they stop it. The reason this works so well is because it's one of those moments where, clearly Bortus is, the Klingon of Orville. And I guarantee you, people watching Star Trek, especially in the early years, would be like, I wonder what Worf could eat. And they even make reference to that in The Next Generation, where his warrior drink that Guinan gives him is just prune juice. So they really just kind of take it one step further to be like, let's see him eat a cactus. So it was kind of great. One of the other things that they kind of make fun of or point out in Star Trek is at one point Ed tells Alara, open hailing frequencies. And she says, okay. And he instantly starts talking. And she's like, I haven't done it yet. It takes a second. And then you see her pushing the buttons and she's like, okay, now you can go. And it's just one of those funny moments. Because you think about Star Trek where he's like, open a channel and then just starts talking. How fast does it take to open a channel? It's one of those, you never really think about it. And then finally, the last kind of stupid line that I really enjoyed was, there's a fire on the bridge. And Ed's like, what happened to the automatic fire suppression? That's the panel that's on fire. And it's like, yeah, if that's what happened, it would actually kind of make sense. You'd think there'd be backups and stuff like that. But just to point out those little things that we never saw happen in, Star Trek, but probably did. And to kind of make it in a funny sort of way. It really worked. So the more serious side of this episode is they destroy an entire Krill ship, but the shuttle is intact. And so they have to take that shuttle, Ed and Gordon, and go undercover to kind of look at their Bible to see what they think. The whole scene of them trying to come up with what do exotic names sound like? Haagen-Dazs. I was like, that's kind of great. It would have been better because I think Ed just panics on the spot and its names are I think Chris and Devin or something. The fact that they tried to do Haagen-Dazs, I think it would have been better if they had said Ben and Jerry, but whatever. Missed opportunity. And so them talking about and learning about the Krill and how, people now think animals have no soul. My grandfather was a minister, and I remember him being dogs and cats aren't going to go to heaven because they don't have souls. And as I've grown up, it's I don't know about that. And the whole, I don't know about heaven and hell anyway, but just the way we perceive other animals and other people and stuff like that. And so for the Krill to be oh, they're different from us, so they don't have a soul. They're just these shells that we can kill, is really kind of an interesting thing. Like I said, it's religious dogma. It's I'm right because my God says I'm right. Oh, okay. How do we know God exists? Because the Bible said so. How do we know the Bible's right? Because God said the Bible's right. It's this circular motion that you can't necessarily get out of. So them becoming vampire hunters because they realize their planet is always in darkness. And then there's some great lines of when Gordon gets stabbed in the leg and he's like, it's a brand new leg. It's a shout out to the previous episode. So I like how they're keeping continuity in the series. Finally, they find the Death Star, and it's this planet-destroying weapon, and they have to decide, how do we stop this? Because they want to kill, hundreds of thousands of human colonists, And after Ed, like, basically kills all the people, but not even the kids, just the adults, because the kids have their entire lives ahead of them, like, they're still not understanding. They're like, you killed my crew. You were going to kill 100,000 people. Yeah, but they didn't matter. They didn't have souls. So just, it's irritating and it's frustrating because so many people still believe like that here on Earth. Like, that person looks different than I do, so they don't have rights. And it's just, I love how Orville is able to take these social commentaries and flip them. And hopefully some people that still have those bigoted point of views can watch stuff like this and actually understand it. I mean, it's a little unfortunate because people who have those types of views probably aren't going to watch Seth MacFarlane anyway, but still, it's always worth a shot, I guess. For those who have seen this one, like, what do you guys think about Orville so far? This is now halfway through season 1. Do you think it's doing a good job with social commentary? Do you like how he's portraying these points of views? Go ahead, let me know. Thank you guys for everything, and I'll see you next time for The Majority Rule.